Hello, good evening, and welcome back to Andy's Cavern. We've got a real treat for you tonight. We've got two guests on who you've probably recognised from videos in the past. We've got Ireland's #1 boxing fan, Gerry from Ireland, and we've got Jamie, esteemed former boxing writer and commentator from Salford. How we doing, boys? Hope you're all well.
All right, thank you. We're slightly well oiled tonight, aren't we,
Well
lads?
oiled.
Don't lie.
Speak for yourself, Jamie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's apple juice, isn't it, Jerry?
It's Sidona, mate.
It's what?
Sidona.
All right, fair enough.
So I think we're looking at doing a preview, a big fight preview on probably on Crawford, Canelo, and we'll probably touch on Crocker Donovan as well, as that's all coming off this weekend. And I promised you all a preview for Friday. So here we are. So which one of you guys wants to give us your views first on Crawford Canelo? Do you want to go first, Gerry? Or?
Andy, why don't you give us your take on things first? How do you like that? Turn the
Yeah,
tables on you.
I'll do that. I'm happy to do that. When the fight was announced quite a while back, well, I think it'd been whispered about for a while, hadn't it? I've favoured Crawford right from as soon as I've heard it mentioned. I actually saw a wee video earlier on tonight with Frank Goldfeather, and he shared a flight with Crawford over to Riyadh. I think he was sitting next to him. You know, Frank
Right.
Goldfeather, the guy from Aberdeen. I think he's
Yeah.
almost 80, but the guy's a huge inspiration to probably most people that watch his stuff. Very fit guy. The way he hits the punch bag is phenomenal. At any age, regardless, despite being, never mind being 79 or whatever it is. But he was saying he shared a flight with Crawford from Amsterdam over to Riyadh, I think it was. It must have been going over to one of the big Saudi shows. And he said that he could see Crawford's put on the size. Well, even at that point, I don't think the fight was even announced, he said, but you could see Crawford was obviously looking at having this fight and had started to put the weight on. And he says Crawford convinced him that he could beat Canelo, you know, when he was talking to him going over there. But he says the closer it's come to the fight, he's favouring Canelo now because Canelo's been fighting at super middleweight for so long. And this is Crawford's first fight at super middleweight. But I actually, though I respect Frank Fair hugely, I actually disagree with him. I think Crawford can pull this off. I think is just from sheer boxing ability. I don't think there's the big size disparity that people think there is. There is the fact that he's not boxed at super middleweight before. There's that. But
Yeah.
strength-wise, I believe Crawford's got a background in wrestling, and I don't know if it's jiu-jitsu or something else. He's definitely got a background in grappling sports. So he's, from what you hear people say, he is very, very strong. So
Yeah,
I think the fact he's got such an exemplary career and he's so accomplished. It's not just like a normal person moving up to super middleweight to take on Canelo. He's probably he's definitely a generational great, Crawford, I would say. I think he's a four-time four-weight world champion. So anybody under, I don't think there's many folk underestimating him, but would underestimate him at their peril, I would say. I think personally Crawford can beat him, but it'll be on points, I believe. But being Vegas, I think I mentioned this in my comeback video a few days ago, or welcome back video, whatever I called it. I put money. I put a bet comeback video, the Cavern comeback. I put a bet on weeks and weeks ago on a draw. I think I got 16-1 odds. Now they're down at 12-1 because I feel Crawford will beat him, but I don't think he'll get the decision in Vegas. Canelo's the kind of house favourite, isn't he, in Vegas? So that's my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think.
you want to go next, Jerry, or?
I'll go next, yeah. Right, so first point I'll make is, and I've said it before on well, I said it around the time it was announced, but I don't know. I'm not mad into this kind of, guys jumping up weights to fight other guys just because there's nobody in their division that, you have to do these kind of things to the make money fights. that's maybe really boring and dull point of view, but that's just how it is for me. I was like, Terence Crawford and Alvarez? No way, mate. So I'm getting that out of the way first. But here we are. We've got that fight and it's happening. Um, I was looking at or Alvarez in his last fight, and I thought, wasn't it this guy William Skull who he fought the last time? Yeah.
Yeah.
William Skull, yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, before I actually expand on that point of view, that guy is on the bill again. The guy who run away. What's going on there?
I
Right.
thought he'd be banned from Riyadh.
Exactly.
He's doing
It's
the
in Vegas,
dancing
isn't it?
he's doing a dancing exhibition in between the fights. You know what I mean? He's the
Question.
midway entertainment.
Come dancing.
Question.
But it's
Turkey.
on. It's not a Saudi card though, is it, Gerry?
Is it not?
I don't. I think
It's
it's
a
Ring.
it's a Ring magazine, so
Oh, it's still
so
Ring. It's still.
I think it is Ring. Yeah, so there's still some sort of sway with the Saudis, and I've not been very happy with them over the past week because of things that
Las Vegas.
I'll mention in a second. Sorry, Jerry. Carry on.
This is Las Vegas, or lads. So forgive me for not knowing any of the who's putting it on and all that type of stuff. I just can't believe that guy's on that card again. Who would want to put that guy on a card as big as this? Anyway, I've digressed. So I know like Alvarez is now like he knows how to manage his gas tank. He knows how to manage his punch output because he's getting on a wee bit. He's getting a wee bit. I can't really be bothered having to exert myself whatever amount of percent. So he's clever that way, and he does what he needs to do, and he manages his gas tank. And one thing I noticed in that William Skull fight, and it was a bloody awful fight, was how slow he looked, and that didn't look like gas management to me. That looked like somebody who had concrete in their shoes. I couldn't believe it. And I'm going to be really, really simple and really, really ignorant about this whole fight and basically go, Terence Crawford is going to outland and score more points. And the only way I see it being different, sorry, is if Alvarez happens to hurt Crawford somehow and uses whatever size advantage that he has. And as Andy has rightly pointed out, could be negligible here. Like, mightn't really be as much in it as people were expecting. I think people were thinking, oh, Crawford's going to get holds punched in him here. Fighting, he's moving up weight. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I think Andy's right with what he said there. It's, it's not going to be as mega as you think. And in that respect, then I have to fall back on what I'm saying here and my logic, which is Crawford's gonna outpoint him, and you've got a conservative Alvarez probably losing points and trying to inflict as much kind of power punching on him as possible. But I just don't think, I know Jules has already said that he thinks it's going to be a tale of two halves. Crawford's going to be probably win, first 5 rounds, and then Alvarez will come into it as things kind of slow down a little bit. Possibly, but I just think Crawford's going to do enough to win on points. Do I think there's going to be any kind of dodgy robbery going on? I don't know. Is Alvarez favored in Vegas more than Crawford would be? Jamie, that's my. If you want to go on.
Yeah, I would, and I'll follow on from that point. All right, Las Vegas isn't Mexico. There's a lot of Tex-Mex individuals there. A lot of Texans in America are also sort of Mexican. You got El Paso, and there's going to be that big contingent, and they love traveling to Las Vegas. See, I think that is going to be a big story of the fight in the end if it's close. And it's sad because I still think that poor judging is a facet of boxing. I don't think it's going to go away. I think Terence Crawford has certainly got the tools. He's got the greater boxing brain than Canelo. You know what I mean? He knows how to control a fight with his jab. He showed that against Errol Spence. He basically used the jab as a power punch, which I think, all right, he's not going to stop Canelo in his tracks, but it will certainly bide him a bit more time. You know what I mean? If you're able to just pump that jab out and it'd be a bit more powerful than just a flicker, I think, it's going to buy you a bit more time whilst you're out, on your feet and trying to sort of work out the game plan on the go, which I think he will have to do because he's in there with a superstar against Canelo, isn't he? And vice versa. You know what I mean? They're both superstars. I don't think this is a sort of fight where you make a plan and you stick to the plan and you can win. I think there's going to be a real test of boxing IQ and who can make decisions on the fly. And I think the advantage in that respect lies with Terence Crawford. I do think that this is a fight whereby, Gerry, you said about Alvarez coming on late. I think he's got to come on early. And I really think he's got to come on. Sorry?
To win, I agree. I think he would have to.
Yeah, because I think the longer the fight goes, the more confident Terence Crawford's going to get because, let's face it, you're in there against a super middleweight, maybe not a fully fledged super middleweight because he's quite small at the weight, isn't he? But you're in there against the more natural fighter. So I think the longer it goes, the more he's going to feel confident. Oh, I can stay in there with him. I can stay in there, and he'll start getting cocky, put his shots together. And yeah, so Canelo's really got to sort of plant his feet early and make himself respected, and all right, I've said it, the size disparity doesn't look massive. Canelo looked quite drained at the weigh-in, I thought, today. I've seen clips of the weigh-in, but I did turn around and say I think that's an aesthetic thing as well, because normally he's got a tan on him, Canelo, whereas he looked quite pale. So I think he's come in looking a bit gaunt. So, I don't think he would have struggled with a weight, but if there is something going on there, he's going to want to get Terence Crawford out of there early so he's not gassing. And as I was saying about weight disparity, I think it's not necessarily the weight. I just think it's the punching. He's going to be a cleaner puncher at a higher weight, and I think that's going to make a big difference. Because Terence Crawford won't have been hit by anybody the way that Canelo's going to hit him. So if he can stand up to the bombs and he can get out of the way of an early onslaught, which I think is going to be what's happening, there's not going to be much styling going on. I think Canelo's going to get a bit of PTSD from the Bivol fight because as soon as Crawford starts putting shots together, Canelo's not going to let that happen twice, is he? He's not going to be sitting on the ropes and just praying that, Terence Crawford gets tired so that he can unload his shots. He's going to want to go in there and impose his physical will. So if he can't get him out of there early, I'd say first 5 rounds, and he can't get Terence Crawford's respect with punches, then I think it is Terence Crawford's for the taking. But like you said, we're probably all on the same page. I do think the judges are going to probably take a bit of a brown envelope, which is unfortunate. And I say that with some confidence in sort of, maybe not corruption, but certain skullduggery, because earlier this week, I've heard that the Saudi regime or whoever's behind this now, they've refused, excuse me, sorry, they've refused certain journalist entry to the proceedings, because they've not liked what they've been told. So it's like, is it really a clean slate for boxing, or are we just having the same old crap? Well, all promoters do it, don't they? When there's a bit of journalistic friction, oh yeah, we're going to refuse you a press pass and everything like that. So, if they can do that with the journalists, they can certainly do that with the judges.
Ban the guard.
It's what?
Ban the guard.
Yeah.
Gag
I
the
know.
dad.
I know.
That's a good take, mate. That's
I
a good
went on a
take.
bit there. I do apologise. I droned on a bit.
No, you're right. I get exactly what you're saying, like, but uh, yeah, I mean, maybe the advantage is in Alvarez's court. I just think Crawford's gonna just outpoint them. I'm thinking of it like in terms of who's going to hit their opponent more. And I just think Crawford's going to score more shots.
I think we've got a Hagler Leonard situation.
Yeah.
I think I'm right in
Similar.
saying that. Was it the Mungai fight or Berlanga
Munguia
fight?
against
Did he fade? Alvarez kind of fade near the end of the fight? The last few rounds, I thought he didn't do as much. I can't remember what fight it was, but he kind of faded noticeably. I thought compared with the way he used to fight. I just wondered if that was a thing
He
now.
wasn't as charged up against John Ryder either. Do you know what I mean? He's not really fought an elite fighter, and it depends whether you turn Billy Joe Saunders elite. And he weren't elite, but he was probably the best challenger in that division.
Was that his last stoppage against
Yeah.
Saunders?
No, didn't he stop John Ryder?
I think he went a distance, did he? No. Yeah, man, I've got Boxing up here. Yeah, it was points.
Yeah, that's the last time I actually stayed up for a fight, though, the Billy Joe Saunders fight, because I genuinely thought, even though I can't stand him, I thought Billy Joe Saunders might have done it, you know.
Caleb Plant, he stopped him as well, round 11, I think it was. Yeah. Round 11.
Yeah. But I just, he's not been the same. He just doesn't appear to have been the same. I think the Bivol fight it took it out of him a little bit as well, because, that machismo, it didn't work, did it?
Yeah.
Tried to stand centre ring, and Bivol pushed him back. I know he was a light heavyweight, but, Bivol used to be a puncher early on in his career, and he swapped it for sort of classic textbook boxing.
Yeah.
And it showed Canelo's weakness, and I think that's what Terence Crawford needs to exploit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think he can be. I think Canelo is deceptively effective. I think he's more effective than he actually looks, as in cutting the ring down and that. But like you say, Gerry, if he's looked slower lately, if his movement is key, it will be against Crawford, I think, because I think Crawford's pretty slick and efficient, and he moves well, doesn't he? Very fluid. So that could go against Canelo.
I was shocked at how slow Canelo was. I mean, okay, I get I get his tactics now, but I was shocked. I was like, has he just come out of a freezer? And he's like, no, it was fucking unreal. Maybe it just took me by surprise or something, but I was shocked by it. I'm going to admit to a catastrophic error, my friends. I clicked on event in BoxRec there, and it gave me a whole bunch of keek that was not correct. So William Skull is not on the undercard, so thank fuck for that.
That's a relief.
Apologies.
That's a relief, isn't it?
Yeah, because somebody in the comments is going to be going, "What the fuck's he talking about?"
Who is on the undercard? That's a good question.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get I had to sign in the box right there because I hate the way it makes you do that now. So let's go to event.
Seri Bahuchik and Brandon Adams, Christian Mabili, Lester Martinez, Ivan
Checo.
I think we can safely say they've spunked all their money on the main event, can't we?
I think so.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really, because it's on Netflix, and I know obviously the big showcase is the main event, but had the card out. It's not like you've not got the money. Netflix as an entity in your own right. You don't even need the Saudis. Put on a showpiece and really this is proper boxing, not like that crap that Jake Paul sells to us. Proper
No.
boxing. Put an event on bottom to the top and show 'em what you're really made of.
Yeah.
Jermaine
Well,
Franklin is a person I would like to see Moses Atoma fight, simply because he's a guy who hasn't, he's fought Joshua,
he
he
beat
fought
Dillian
Dillian,
White, but got robbed, didn't he?
and
Yeah, beat them in right. Yeah.
he beat Dillian White, yeah. But let's face it, like Dillian White's well past it, like.
Yeah.
But point is, he took those guys to 12 rounds each, so
Yeah.
You
and
say
he's
Dylan White's well past it, Jerry, but he was never behind it, was he? Let's face it, he was never all that, was he? Really?
if we wouldn't want to hurt people's feelings, but in all honesty, yes, that's correct. He's
I
absolutely
know.
gone. He always was like. But anyway, I think that's a good measuring stick. Let's see, because he's a bit of an awkward kind of customer, Franklin. So, you know, could he drag Moses Atoma 12 rounds or even 10 rounds? That would
He's
be
quite
interesting.
he's quite skillful, Franklin, and he's maybe not a big puncher, but he's quite skillful and he's quite cute with his moves and that,
That's
isn't he?
no,
So, he-
no doubt
Yeah.
somebody's going to stick it on their own channel, I suppose. We've just discussed that, but just saying, like,
you heard it here first.
you heard it here first.
Now,
Do me a favor.
talking about
Right.
Moses Atumo, who is that? Well, that's who Jerry thinks he should fight next. Who do you think he should fight next, Jamie?
That's not who I
Moses
think.
Thoma.
Moses Atumo, yeah.
I'd like to see him fight Hergovich, but it's not going to happen because of the eye. But I
Yeah.
think that is, we can rush him. I've said a few times I think he's the dog's nuts.
Yeah.
And
You want to be his boyfriend?
it's what, mate?
I said you want to be his boyfriend.
Yeah, I do. I love him. I love him. Love to beat him around the ring for a bit. You know what I mean? No,
I'd reckon you take him, mate.
Keep it
I
clean
reckon you
now.
take
I know. It's a family show. I think, I would like to see Hergovich. I think that would be quite a natural sort of step. But I do think the Jermaine Franklins of the world would also be a good test.
What about the British title against Adelaide? Is Adelaide still the British champion, or did he give that up?
him with Andy. I think he should do those guys. Do all the domestic guys first.
Clear out the attic. Yeah, it would be nice if he could fight Fabio Wardley, but that fight's never going to happen either, is it?
Well, it should in a couple of fights. Why wouldn't that happen?
Because it's
Depending
Ben
on
Davison. It's Ben Davison, isn't it? Stable mates. So
Well, put
have
that
to
Barry
go-
the Bacon in one corner and Ben Davison in the other.
yeah, they could do, couldn't they? But I don't know. It's like it's going to cause friction, though, that isn't it? Because even though it's probably an open secret who he's going to back, it'd be a bit of a smack in the face to Fabio, particularly because he's done so well. I'd be backing Fabio to the hilt because, let's face it, he was getting beat against Justice Hooney and he just pulled it out. He's Mr. Excitement, isn't he? He's got I think he's got a 94% knockout ratio as well. So
that's where we're at with the Parker fight, I think, as well. Somebody who's in my work was asking me the other day, and he's somebody who normally goes against Parker, but Parker has proved him wrong. And I'm like, look, I'm on the same page you see here with Parker, right? And I actually really, really, really want Parker to beat him based on the fact that I don't like seeing a guy pay his dues, fight a load of guys. He's earned a shot. And then he's having to take this fight, which is a hard fight.
Yeah.
A treading water fight, right? He's treading water with this. And Fabio Orley could just do him like that anytime.
He's following the Dillian White blueprint, isn't he? Except I do think that Dillian White, when he was given that WBC title shot eventually, didn't take it with both hands. I think Joseph Parker will. I'm not saying he'll beat Usyk because I don't think anyone beats Usyk, but he'll give him all he can handle. I do believe that. He's a different type of opponent to Dubois. He's not on like one track, is he? He can move like he's a He can put combination punches together a little bit. He can whack a little bit. He can do a bit of everything. So, you know,
I made a
Parker,
point in a video I did the other day about Parker, and what the video wasn't about that. It was just heavy talk or something, just talking
yeah.
about some of the heavyweights. And my point was, who's the biggest puncher Fabio Wardley's fought? What's to say Parker couldn't knock Wardley out? Because
That's a good point.
Parker's a
That's a good
decent,
point.
he's a decent puncher, Parker, and I think he's more skillful than Wardley. But who is the biggest fighter Wardley, biggest puncher Wardley's fought? I mean, Fraser Clark's not that big a puncher, I don't believe.
Adelaide can whack. According to Adam Booth, Adelaide's a big puncher.
Yeah.
So you could probably argue the case for Adelaide.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Andy. I think that's a good point. And I obviously watched that video as well, and I was thinking, who could it be? So, in terms of skills, Parker outboxes them all day long. And this is a heavier Parker because we know Andy Lee beefs him up. Like, I think, did you make that point as well? So you've got a heavier Parker. He can whack a bit, but I think Joe Parker is a little bit slower than he used to be. I always like a speed machine over a heavier guy.
Yeah.
Because I always think a speedy guy can get out of there. He can get in and out.
Yeah. Wardley is quite quick, isn't he?
Wardley is fit. He's a fit guy, and he's got the speed. He's obviously a little bit crude in certain aspects, in which he's maybe going to look quite pedestrian against Parker, but I can't decide on that one. I'm going to get splinters in my asshole because at any time in those 12 rounds, I could see it's like yourself, like whenever Fabio Wardley gets hit and he maybe gets a bit like hurt or something, he just presses the trigger like.
Oh, I just
it's just Parker can survive that or not, and you know what? All that experience and stuff, I guess. And Parker's got off the floor before, so I'm nearly saying that's nearly a 50-50 fight. Is that crazy talk or what?
No, you got to think though. I don't think it's crazy talk. You got to remember Josie Parker got beat by Joe Joyce. Pressure. And I think Joe Joyce was very, very simplistic in the way he did things, just like Fabio Wardley is, basically. I'm not saying they're on the same level because obviously Joe Joyce should have been Olympic gold medalist, so he had a bit more amateur pedigree, but very, very basic in respect, throw the 4 punches, don't do anything fancy. And I think that's what Fabio Wardley's got to do, just take it back to basics, turn it into a bar brawl. Because
did Parker not claim that he was unwell for that fight? But I don't think he was making excuses. I kind of think he's quite an honest guy. But
I personally believe him, Andy, as well.
Sorry, Jerry.
I personally believe him as well.
Yeah,
I get. Yeah,
I think he is an improved fighter under Andy Lee, and he proved against Wilder he can follow a game plan for the full duration of the fight. So.
Yeah.
I do favour Parker, I probably lean towards him, but it is a closer fight than a lot of people might think, I would think,
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. 22nd of November, is it, I think?
It is 25th of October, I think, I've got here.
All right.
It's sooner than I thought, which I thought was a bit mad. So I assume Parker's been keeping himself in shape. Which he probably has, but not everybody thinks.
He never really gets out of shape, does he? So
was there no suspicions that I don't want to make any assumptions here, but that Dr. Usman guy had been working with before he beefed up to 19 odd stone. When they said he was coming at 19 stone against McCauley, I was expecting him to look a lot more chunky, but he looked pretty ripped. Or pretty lean anyway, I thought, and I was quite surprised at that for coming in at that weight, looking so lean, but that's maybe genuine enough, but it's just anything to do with that Dr. Usman, there's always question marks or alarm bells ringing, isn't there, after the Conor Ben situation, but we can't make it like that. It's only an observation.
I'll agree on that, Andy, but I just think that was people trying to generate controversy for controversy's sake.
Yeah,
When he gets
quite
popped
possible.
for a test, when he gets popped for a test, he's a
Yeah,
drug cheat. So in my eyes, he's not a drug cheat. I
no,
also think someone who, we used to speak with, I believe in our circles anyway, was generating a little bit of controversy because I don't know, they seem to know an awful lot about the subject, according to them. I personally think I looked into that after, and just those Samoan types and their genetics are different from ours,
yeah,
and he had a year to put on that weight. I don't think that was
yeah,
that weird, but
no. He strikes me as an honest guy, Parker, as honest as you get in the boxing world
and
anyway, don't you?
if I found out Joe Parker was a drugs cheat, I would actually be like, well, he fooled me then because I just wouldn't think he would be that type of a guy.
Yeah,
That's
Hmm.
maybe really naive to be that kind of whatever, but that's just my opinion.
yeah. Now, he does come across as a good, honest guy. I've always thought that. He's always respectful. And that's a good thing about this fight I like about it. They're both respectful guys. There's no bullshit, no trash talking to any great extent. They will try and sell the fight a bit, but nothing, nothing drastic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think we've only got a minute left. Uh,
Oh shit.
so we can do a part two if you want.
No Crocker Donovan then?
We'll do Crocker Donovan in part two.
Yeah, we'll
Do
do
part two.
part two.
We'll do that now. We'll wind this one up. And thanks for watching, guys. And tune in to part two coming right up.
And then
Good
our
night,
bear.
lads.
We'll see you on the other side.
See you later.
Cheers.